Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to solve another lab for basic SSRF. So this lab's name is basic SSRF against another backend system. Here we are going to see how to look for SSRF and what all can be done. So in this lab we has a stock check feature which fetches the data from an internal system. Now to solve this lab we have to use the stock check functionality to scan the internal IP, which is this range, for an admin interface on this port, and then use it to delete the user Carlos. So our main objective here is to delete the user Carlos. Now let's start the lab. To start the lab, you can click on access the lab. Since it takes a little time, okay, it's already loaded, great. Then let's start. I had already opened it, but yeah, we can just use one of them now, and let's go to view details for any of these and see where we can find the check stock button. Yep, here it is. And we see there are 836 units. We can try for Paris as well. Done. Let's go back to Burp. Now ensure that you are opening this in the Burp browser, Chromium, or in any other browser which you have set the proxy for with Burp. Going back to Burp, I see there are a lot of requests that we can see which are coming. We are looking for a request where we can actually see some parameters or something interesting happening, some URLs, something going, so that we can manipulate that particular area for SSRF and see if it is vulnerable or not. Stock check.js, we don't see much. Okay, so you can see these are all get methods. Instead of going through each and every request, you can also check which of these requests have parameters. Params here stands for body parameters that the request will have. So instead of going through each and every one, you can directly go through the ones with the parameters. And here we see exactly that there is a parameter stock API going, which has an internal IP using the port 8080, and then the path is mentioned here. So let's do one thing. Let's send this to the intruder. So what we are going to see is we are going to try and find another IP apart from this which can be used for further exploit, right? So I'm going to remove any payloads if there were any, and I'm going to put the payload here right at the last IP point. And then I'm gonna go to the payload section, start a number list from 1 to 55 with a step count of 1, and we are going to start the attack. Okay, you can see the requests are going and we're getting 200. Okay, let's wait for the entire thing to end. So I'm gonna pause the recording for now and then we will get back. Okay, so now it is finished. So you can see we have gotten 200 OK for the very first payload, which actually is the original IP address which was going. So nothing interesting here, and we see a lot of 500 internal server errors. That means those IPs do not exist. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a filter here, not a filter, but I'm basically sorting it out. And here I see one different status code, which is 404. Now 404 is not found. That means we were able to interact with the IP, but the path is something that was not found. So if we see the response, this is the response, not found, not found. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this to the repeater. And I think we are done with the intruder as of now. Let's go back to the repeater and send this request and see again. Yep, 404 not found. So okay, so let me see if I remove the entire path, product, stock, all of that, and send it, what happens then? Again, not found. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to send this to the intruder, and I'm going to try to find a path Okay, add. Try to find a path here through which I can get a valid response or some different response which can help me recognize whether that path exists or not, or some further action I can take with this. Because right now I am sure this IP is the IP 197 that actually exists. Let me go back to the intruder and confirm it. The temporary attack 404.197 is when we got the 404. Great. Yep. So now I'm gonna go back to the payloads and use a simple list. You can add from the list if you have the PortSwigger Pro version. Here I'm just gonna add few 4 to 5 different things that can be something like test, server, admin, administrator, root. Then you can add other things like etc, readme, etc. You can add all of those, or you can get such lists that you can upload here which have the common directories from the internet. As of now I'm going to go with these as a sample to show you. Now I'm going to start the attack. It's finished. Let's see the status code. So we see everything else also got 404, but for admin we have got 200. Okay, let me send this to the repeater and we'll see the response and everything properly there. Send. Okay, so great. So this path actually exists, and in the result what we see here is basic SSRF against. Another backend is the title. We see, okay, there's an admin panel, my account. Okay, so we do see, okay, this is nice. We do see some ways, some URLs which is used to delete particular users, Wiener and Carlos. And if you remember in the starting the lab, to solve the lab we were supposed to delete the user Carlos. So I'm gonna simply copy this, and I am going to paste this API, this URL here, and let's send this and see if this will help us actually delete Carlos. Let's send this. It says 302 found. Okay, so let us go back to the to our Chromium and see what it shows us. It says congratulations, you solved the lab. So that means Carlos was deleted successfully. So yes, we have solved the lab, and I hope you understood. What I wanted you to understand is how to look for SSRF vulnerable points. So you're basically going to look for some entry point or some URL point through which you can see that the server is further making requests to another server and it is trying to fetch or get data. On my user action to check stock, we did see that it was trying to fetch data from another IP. Through this IP we can try to manipulate the IP. There might be other internal IPs as well along with this, and then attack or exploit further. So I hope this session helped you get a better understanding of SSRF. If you have any conceptual doubt about SSRF, you should look into my first video recommendation. And if you have doubts, basic first step doubt, or you want to understand the lab 1 of PortSwigger SSRF, then you should look for the second video above. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe.